Chris has always been fat. So fat to the point that he would get teased daily at school. It got to the point that he was so unhappy that something had to change. So he got a gym membership and actually started going to the gym. He went to the gym because he wanted to become athletic. He wanted to build muscle and he wanted to have a physique that looked good. But when he goes to the gym, nothing is happening. He's not building any muscle. He's not looking any better. And he's not even getting any stronger. He's still got that flabby stomach. He has no six pack. And so eventually he just gives up. That was me. And fast forward to today, I actually do have a six pack and I have built a significant amount of muscle. And I like to think that I do look pretty good. And I can't lie, it feels great. So if I had to give advice to my former self, that person that was struggling in the gym was seeing no progress, these are the things that I would say. The first thing is to do with consistency. Around when I started going to the gym, I was extremely inconsistent. I would go to the gym only maybe twice or maximum 3 times every week. And it was because I'd just make excuses for myself to not go. I started going to the gym in my final year of school, so I had to focus on my studies. And that was often the excuse that I would make, that I'd have to go home and start studying and that I didn't have time to go to the gym. And guess what I did? I went home and just watched YouTube videos instead. So it's not like the excuse of studying was actually a legitimate one because I'd just go home and do nothing. So I clearly had time to go to the gym, but it was just my mind forming any kind of excuse it possibly could think of to not go. It was pretty funny as well because the first 2 months that I actually started training seriously, I would go to the gym 7 days a week. I would not skip a day. It wasn't even a thought to skip a day because it was just so much fun. And I started going to the gym during the summer holidays of school. And as a school kid, during the summer holidays, most of the time you've got absolutely nothing to do. So that summer holidays, my sole purpose of life was to go to the gym, go there every day, spending 2 to 3 hours there. And I mean, not all of it was training. Half of it was probably just spent chatting to my mates and doing nothing. But we were there every day without fail. And so when it got to year 12, when school started and these other responsibilities crept up on me, that was when I stopped going to the gym as regularly. I'd always think, no, Chris, you have to study. No, Chris, you have soccer training or you have a soccer game that you need to be well rested for. And obviously these were just excuses. So it was almost as if I needed this perfect set of circumstances, i.e. for the sole purpose of my life to be gym, in order for me to actually train consistently. That's never the case for anyone. People have school, people have work, people have family, friends, people have lives outside of the gym. So your mind will give you all these types of excuses, but you just have to suck it up and go. Whether that means waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to find time to go to the gym before you have to go to work, then so be it. If you have to squeeze in a run during your lunch break, then so be it. You just have to suck it up to be consistent. The second thing that ruined my progress in the early stages of my weightlifting career was that I did not eat nearly enough food that I needed. So as I previously talked about, I used to be quite a fat kid. And before I'd even started going to the gym, I'd lost a lot of weight. I had just severely restricted the amount of food I was eating, and I ultimately just became more skinny fat. But I was happier because I was less fat. Then once I'd kind of exhausted the beginner gains that you get from starting out at the gym, I just hit an absolute wall. And because I'd come from a place of being so fat, I was scared to eat more food to actually build muscle. And I was scared of eating more food because I was scared that I'd become fat again. And obviously I didn't want that to happen. But you've got to just trust the fact that you need sufficient amount of nutrients, of food, of energy to be able to fuel your workouts. So if you've hit a wall and maybe you are coming from a place of kind of a fear of food, then that's something that you also have to get over. Now, once you've got to the point of actually eating enough food to build muscle, you've actually got to focus on the types of food you're eating as well. So you have to be eating the right kinds of food. Last year, once I'd figured out that you actually have to eat a bit more food to fuel your workouts and actually build muscle, I fell into the trap of just eating whatever I could get my hands on. So I'd have dinner and then I'd go into the pantry searching for chips, for chocolates, for biscuits, for literally anything I could get my hands on. And most of the time it would be junk food. Same goes for whenever I'd have lunch. I'd eat my main meal of lunch and then I'd just go seeking out whatever I could get my hands on. And inevitably, it was always just ice cream and pizza and all this other garbage food. And I'd eat it under the pretense of this is all okay because I'm trying to bulk and I'm trying to build muscle. And in order to build muscle, I just need to eat more food. And it's so funny because last year when I was going through this bulking phase, I put on almost 10 kilos and I was getting weaker in the gym. I went to the gym 7 days a week and I was bulking and I got weaker. It was so frustrating as well because I had this huge summer trip to Europe that was planned and I'd looked the worst I'd ever looked in the past 3 years. And of course, when you go on holiday, especially when it's summer, you want to look good. And I looked so bad. So the point is that if it fits your macros diet is just wrong. You need to eat the right kinds of food, specifically eating clean and not junk, ultra processed food. Even though the two types of food might have the exact same amount of calories and same amount of macronutrient split. So I'll give you an example. One meal, you have a quarter pounder and a medium fries from McDonald's. The other meal is a chicken thigh, boiled potato, and avocado. The Big Mac meal and the medium fries and the healthy meal both have the same amount of calories, roughly at around 800 calories. Similarly, the Big Mac and medium fries has a total of 35 grams of protein, 85 grams of carbs, and 41 grams of fat. And if you take the meal with the chicken, potatoes, and avocado, you've got a similar macronutrient ratio of 35 grams of protein, 76 grams of carbs, and 40 grams of fat. So just looking at the numbers, they're the same. But I think most people would agree that the Big Mac and medium fries is a lot worse than the chicken and potatoes and avocado. And I think a lot of people would also agree with the statement that they'd feel a lot worse after eating the McDonald's compared to eating the clean meal. So it begs the question, why does the clean meal actually make us feel better than the McDonald's meal, even though they're the same amount of calories and have the same amount of macros? The answer is pretty obvious as well. The McDonald's meal is full of ultra processed ingredients. It's an extremely poor way to fuel your body. It's almost disrespectful to your body to do that. The processed ingredients just lead to poorer gut health. It affects your ability to digest food. It leads to decreased performance. So if you're going to go to the gym, then your workouts aren't going to be as good. It leads to higher fatigue. You're just going to feel more tired throughout the day. It can lead to you getting sicker more frequently. And it can also lead to poorer sleep. With all of those going into the mix, it's no question that if you eat these ultra processed foods like a quarter pounder, your muscles just aren't going to respond as well compared to if you're eating the chicken thigh, the potatoes, and the avocado. So don't make the same mistake that I did of thinking that you can just eat whatever type of food you want because it will fit your macros, or you're doing it under the pretense of it's okay because I'm bulking and need to eat more food to build muscle. Completely untrue. The last thing I'll say is that you don't train hard enough. When I first started at the gym and I'd hear guys working out and making just the most weird noises, grunts, screams, I'd be like, what the hell is this guy doing? And I'd kind of look down upon them, being like, who is this guy? Like, what a weirdo. But I've come to realize that the guys that are making the most noise, making the grunts, are usually the ones that are training the hardest and are usually the ones that are going to see the most muscle growth. Now, I'm the person that is making the most noise in the gym, and I'm completely unapologetic about that. Some people might look over at me and think the same thing that I thought about those guys. What a weirdo. Who does this guy think he is? But who cares? Literally, who cares? I'm in there to build muscle. I think everyone's in the gym to build muscle. So you owe it to yourself to train hard enough. And it doesn't matter what you do in order to train hard enough, e.g. making noises, if that's what you have to do to get there. A rule of thumb for me, I think, is that if you're not making any form of noise, then you're probably not training hard enough. It can be just exhales, like, or it can be grunts. It can be loud exhales. It doesn't have to be to the full extent of screaming your lungs out. But I don't think that if you're completely silent during a set, not making a squeak of a noise, I just don't think it can be the case that you're training hard enough. Because it's literally impossible if you really are going all out to not make any noise. A problem that I had was that I didn't even realize how much I was leaving in the tank every set I would do. I remember I was doing the chest press machine and I was aiming for 10 reps and I was training with this other guy and he comes up to me during the set and just watches me and I'm at rep 8 and it's feeling kind of difficult. And then he says to me, 6 more. And of course I'm just like, okay, well, let's try. So I keep going. And then he goes 6, 5. And I keep going. And he goes 5. And I'm like, what? And I keep going. He's like 5, 5. But the whole time I kept going. And at the end, I did 18 reps and I was going for 10. So it meant I was leaving 8 reps in the tank every single set that I did. And if you're leaving that much in the tank every set, there's a slim chance that you're going to be making any significant progress. Hopefully that all helped. So if you enjoyed this video or you learned anything from it, consider subscribing. We're getting to 2K subs. And of course, always drop a like, drop a comment, let me know what you think. And let me know if there's anything else that you think is inhibiting muscle growth. See you later.